Well, hello there, guys, and welcome to another iteration of Strategic Command. This time, we go to the war in the Pacific. Just like every other Strategic Command game, there is a play-by-email online, as well as a hot seat feature, but what I really want to take a look at is the single player. Now, we've got 1941, the Day of Infamy, Pearl Harbor. Absolutely fascinating. It looks like we've also got Khalkhin Gol, which is of course the conflict between the Soviet Union and Japan. We've got the Solomon Islands campaign, the Marianas campaign, August Storm 1945. This is all about the Red or Soviet Army invading Manchuria. And of course, we've got the Battle of Iwo Jima. Let's jump into one of these. I think we're probably going to end up going with the Solomon Islands here, but I'll surprise you guys. And as always, I would ask for you to please like and comment on this video. It greatly helps out the channel. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the Solomon Islands campaign. And of course, just like every other Strategic Command game, you can change your counter styles to essentially just standard counters. I thought it would be NATO counters, but I'm not actually seeing that. That might change. You can, of course, select national colors, which would display the national colors on the campaign map. We're going to leave that off for now, but we've got everything else: Fog of War, 3D units, messages, and I'm guessing maybe it's the 3D units. That's what gives you the NATO counters, if that's more your style. Personally, I like to see the actual, the look of the different units, so I'm going to go ahead and take this. And here we go, going into 1942-43, the Solomon Islands campaign. Can't wait to see what this is like. And of course, I've been a fan of this Strategic Command series for a long time. Allied and Japanese reinforcements in the production queue are detailed. Okay, fair enough. And there we go, guys. Coast Watchers. Allied operatives on remote islands provide vital intelligence, detecting Japanese movements up to 5 hexes away. Their role was pivotal in the Solomons campaign, earning high praise from U.S. Admiral Halsey, who credited them with saving Guadalcanal and the entire Pacific. In recent months, we've established our bases in the Solomons, most notably on Guadalcanal, aimed to expand our southern perimeter and facilitate future advances towards strategic targets like Nauru, Ocean Island, New Caledonia, Fiji, and Samoa. Now, I want to be clear, you can play as either the Japanese or the Allies. We chose the Allies in this particular campaign, and as you can see, the Japanese are beginning their assault. I'm hoping we've got enough here on Guadalcanal to take it, but they're definitely smacking our ships just like they did in real life, wiping out the entire U.S. Navy north of Guadalcanal there. And it looks like the Seabees start fighter strip constructions there on Guadalcanal. We're trying to get those planes in the air so that we can properly deal with these Japanese ships. Allied and Japanese reinforcement information. There we go. And it looks like we've got some bombers, medium bombers near Zanana. In the past year, the Japanese have made significant moves in the Solomons, seizing islands and initiating the construction of naval and air bases. Their objectives appear clear: to safeguard their New Guinea offensive's flank, fortify Rabaul's base security, and interdict supply routes between the United States and Australia. And it looks like our primary focus must be on Henderson Field in Guadalcanal. We need to hold Henderson Field. Above all else, that's going to be the most important thing. I like this. I'm guessing we're going to have to, of course, get these guys on a ship and actually bring them all the way over to Guadalcanal. And I'm suspecting that's going to take a little while. We've also got a number of carriers and other ships here, and we are going to bring them to bear against the Japanese. They've already destroyed several of our destroyers and battleships. I want to make sure that they don't do it again. Again, we've been given our orders. The main focus here is going to be Guadalcanal, and as you can see, it's not entirely controlled by us. We have a very small portion of the island, whereas the Japanese are all over the damn thing, and they could decide to give us hell at any moment. Now, I'm going to bring the carriers in, and I'm hoping that these carriers can go ahead and strike out against the enemy. And look at that, Japanese interceptors, man. They are prepared for us, but interesting to see that. I was hoping we would get at least one hit on them, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Now, what about just a good old-fashioned shot by the light cruiser? Trying to soften up those Japanese units, but I think it's going to take a little more than that. Why don't we bring in the New Orleans heavy cruiser? And once again, it's going to take a little bit more than that. They are well dug in on these islands, and those of you that are familiar with the Pacific campaign know that that's a big part of the Japanese strategy. It's to get on these islands, remain entrenched, and fight to the very last man. Thankfully now, the enemy planes can't intercept our Seabees. They've used their action points up, so I am going to keep sending in those aircraft carriers, but again, it doesn't seem to have done much damage. Let's go ahead and attack here. Not too bad. We actually managed to do a pretty good attack here with the 1st Marine Division, but we need to get these reinforcements over as quickly as possible. And I'm going to see, I'm guessing it's going to be a long-range amphibious transport, but I could be mistaken. It could just be a standard amphibious transport. Let's do long-range for that, and we'll do standard for the artillery gun, and here's hoping that they can get to this position as quickly as possible. I'll also bring in our very own Fleet Air Wing 1 patrol aircraft. Actually, sorry, these are just standard patrol. I thought these were bombers. I guess could we just send them in here to take a look? Why not? Not too shabby. For now, though, let's play it safe. Now, I've gone ahead and jumped forward a bit just to give you guys an idea of how things have progressed. We have brought those troops over. We've actually got one of them that has landed on the eastern part of the Solomon Islands, almost to the total east of the island. There we go. And at this point, we are going to try to cut off the Japanese entirely. As you can see, I'm really doing my best to join these two forces, and we've securely locked the Japanese right there. They're going to be of no threat to us. At least this unit is going to be of no threat to us, but we have to capture Versailles here. If we want to take the entire island. We also have to move into Cape Hunter, into Varahue, and grab all of these ports. Right now, we're still dealing with a lot of Japanese shipping, and earlier, there was a Japanese heavy cruiser somewhere up here, but the fog of war has successfully hidden that cruiser. There we go, just doing, there it is, doing my best to get rid of these destroyers at least. And I believe one more strike with our Australians should wipe him out entirely. Looks like they've gone to the port to try and hide, but that did not work. And now the Japanese have that last heavy cruiser there. We can get up close and personal and start striking it with our aircraft carriers. Nope, didn't mean to do that. As you can see, the 3 on our side shows that we are taking a lot more damage than we're dishing out. It's not a worthwhile attack there. Now, that being said, I think you guys got a pretty good idea here of the Solomon Islands campaign. Of course, we would have to progress if we went through this entire campaign through all of these island chains. And if you want to see that in a full campaign, let me know in the comments below. But I want to show you guys as much as I can with this video. So I'm going to jump into either Khalkhin Gol or Pearl Harbor. We're going to take a look and see just what they look like from a combat perspective. And maybe this time we will fight on the Japanese side. Again, if you want to see one of the campaigns, let me know in the comments below which one you'd like to see. It really helps the channel out. Welcome to Khalkhin Gol, my friends. Here we are. It is May 25th, 1939. There was a description here of this particular campaign, and I rudely skipped it. I do apologize. But this is, of course, the beginning of a border clash between the Japanese and the Soviets. The Soviets are in Manchuria, doing their best to, of course, halt us. And they're helping their Mongolian allies over here. We can actually see a Mongolian cavalry regiment near Hill 755. And as you can see, as the Japanese, we have a very large array of medium bombers, strike aircraft, etc. We're going to need to use these as best we can if we want to destroy the Mongolians and the Soviets, because they are going to be in a massive number here. So let's send them in, and it looks like they've got some anti-air capabilities there, pretty sure anyway. Not bad. That is a strike, but of course we lost some bombers too. The goal is the same, however. Try and damage the enemy as much as possible. We're going to start heading towards this supply point, try to cut off the enemy supply points, and it looks like the Mongolians were waiting for us. Unbelievable. Now, they do have cavalry units, and while they're not typically very effective against units like this amphibious armored car, or excuse me, this armored car, I don't think it's amphibious, nonetheless, they put up a pretty good ambush. So they did ambush us there, and it came out to a 1-1 draw. I'm going to continue sending additional forces, and these are actually, as you can see, Manchurian cavalry. That is to say, these are puppets of Japan, the units that we're using currently. So let's send in additional strike aircraft. Doesn't look like things are going to work out so well for us right there. So why don't we send the strike aircraft over here, where we know the anti-air has been used up, and maybe one here. The 12th Hikosentai, I think that's correct. 12th Hikosentai's bomber going in for a strike. Not too shabby. And there is the Manchurian flag and, of course, the Japanese flag. I do believe we have one more strike that we can dish out, but you know what? We got to get this bomber closer anyway. So let's move that TAC bomber right there. Let's end that turn. Oh, look at that. It's an HQ unit, Mongolian HQ unit. Of course, at this point, the Mongolians are a Soviet state, or Soviet puppet state. They are working with the Soviets, and the Soviets are defending them. What I want to try to do is cut off that supply point entirely. We can focus on the enemy HQs later. Now, I do want to strike at that HQ specifically with our bombers, because wiping it out would give us a tremendous advantage. Let's send our cavalry through, trying to cut off the enemy here. And sure enough, they were waiting for us. Looks like a standard enemy cavalry unit there waiting for us. I am going to keep on striking the infantry unit here. Not bad. We actually did manage to do some damage. And I believe that is a good old-fashioned Soviet infantry unit. I don't believe it's Mongolian, pardon me. Had to think there for a second. I was about to say Cambodian, and I'm like, wait a minute, wrong war. I don't believe it's Mongolian. I believe that's actually a Soviet unit. So we're going to just keep striking it, and then we will send in our infantry and hopefully mop things up. There we go, baby. I'd love to get some strikes against the HQ too, but I think it's pretty risky. Not bad. We didn't take any hits either. So you know what? My next strike is going to be on their cavalry. And I'm really trying to mix and match just so that we spread that damage around as much as possible. Nice. The HQ unit is very easy to strike, like a hot knife through butter. And the offensive continues, of course. We have any additional units back here? Not quite yet. Let's end that turn. All right, we're starting to get additional forces, some from the mainland, some coming in, as you can see, from Manchukuo, Manchuria. And that is fascinating. Another Manchukuo unit, and this one is going to be a standard Japanese infantry regiment, getting ready for the push, of course. Now, my goal, if I was to do this campaign entirely, would be to continue cutting off the enemy units over here, cutting off their rail lines as much as I could, and of course, ultimately trying to get over here to where the first Soviet Mongolian army is and shut down the Mongolian front entirely. But of course, there's a lot to be done for that to happen. And I really just wanted to give you guys a taste of Strategic Command War in the Pacific here. Maybe we'll give you another little sneak peek of another battle, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, I really appreciate a like and a comment. Like I said, if you want to see a full campaign, I would be more than happy to do it, but right now YouTube is in such a state that when I go over 10 minutes, the videos, they really get penalized. They are sent to the bottom of view lists. Overall, I just don't make as much off them, so please take that into consideration. But if you want to see a full campaign, I would love to show you guys a full campaign. Tora, my friends. For those of you interested in Pearl Harbor, this is what the Pearl Harbor campaign is looking like. And something I think that is really, really cool about this, it's not simply about the Battle of Pearl Harbor, right? It's also about trying to avoid war with the Soviet Union. So it's sort of a balancing act when you play as the Japanese in this campaign. And like I said, we're not just dealing with a magnificent attack here on Pearl Harbor. We are also dealing, as you can see over here, with all sorts of other fronts against the Chinese that we need to balance too, without upsetting the Soviets too much. So just a whole bunch to do in this campaign. As you can see, it's absolutely massive. Look at these amphibious landing forces. This is crazy to say the least, and I can't wait to jump in and have some fun. As you can see, we're already starting to strike over here in Singapore, trying to strike the British as best we can, cutting off those supply depots with amphibious forces. This is just awesome. I can't express that enough. I think that this might be one of the broader campaigns in the entire game. And when you initially look at it, you kind of think like, how could that be? It's just the Battle of Pearl Harbor. It's not just the Battle of Pearl Harbor. Look at that, hitting a British airfield. Gotta love that. Can we try and strike a few more down? I think we can. We even took some territory in the name of the Emperor. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.